All right, so we've got a huge stack of info here on Freida McFadden's A Housemaid's Secret, and looks like someone's ready to get the full scoop before diving in.
Yeah, well, with over 1 million reviews on Goodreads, it seems like a lot of people have already taken that plunge. McFadden's definitely hit a nerve with this one.
Yeah, and those genre tags are basically a checklist for a wild ride. We've got thriller, mysteries, suspense, psychological thriller. I'm hooked already.
It's a combination that sets you up for a story that really plays with your mind, you know? Unreliable narrators, shocking twists, and that feeling of constantly questioning everything you thought you knew. It's all there.
Okay, so let's break down the basic premise. We've got Millie, our housemaid, landing what seems like a dream job with this super wealthy couple, the Garricks, in their fancy penthouse. But of course, there's a twist. She's absolutely forbidden from talking to wife Wendy, who's always hidden away.
Oh yeah, that forbidden element is classic McFadden. It's that instant dose of tension and mystery that grabs you right from the start. You know, why is Wendy hidden? What are the Garricks trying so hard to keep secret? You're instantly drawn and wanting those answers.
Now, the reviews are interesting. Some people are calling it a popcorn thriller, perfect for like a one-sitting read, praising the fast pace and those crazy twists. But others found it a bit predictable, even goofy. Sometimes it's a mixed bag.
That's pretty common with thrillers, though, you know, especially the ones that really lean into the twists. Some readers might see them coming while others are completely swept up in the ride. It really just depends what you're looking for in a thriller.
So let's get into the specifics. Several reviews mention Millie's nosiness. She's always getting into trouble, which makes me think she's not your typical quiet housemaid.
Exactly. Millie's definitely proactive, and that's what drives the story. You know, she's not just sitting back and watching, she's actively investigating, even if it means breaking the rules. It creates conflict, moves the story forward, and most importantly, keeps you hooked.
One reviewer mentioned a kind of awkward romance between Millie and her lawyer boyfriend, Brock. Apparently, she's not very nice to him. Not cool Millie.
That's interesting. It suggests there might be some flaws in Millie's character, which can sometimes affect how much you connect with her, but it could also be intentional. You know, maybe McFadden is trying to challenge the idea of the perfect heroine, giving us someone who's a bit more complex and flawed. It's something to think about as you read.
All right, let's talk about Wendy, the wife who's always hidden away. There are hints of abuse, and Millie seems determined to help her escape. But one reviewer called her a gold-digging skank.
Wow. Now this is where it gets juicy. Those contrasting views on Wendy create this moral ambiguity that's so important in a good psychological thriller. Is Wendy really a victim who needs saving, or is there more to the story? This uncertainty keeps you guessing and makes you constantly reevaluate everything.
And you can't forget about Enzo Millie's partner in crime. From the first book, he apparently makes a comeback in The Housemaid's Secret. Always love seeing familiar faces.
It's a great way to reward readers who followed the series. It gives you that sense of continuity and opens up possibilities for new dynamics between the characters. You know, how will Millie and Enzo's relationship play out in this new situation? Will they team up, or will their past create tension? It adds another layer of intrigue.
Now remember that bio on Freida McFadden? She's actually a doctor, specializing in brain injuries. I find it so fascinating because it makes you wonder how her medical knowledge might influence her writing, especially when she's creating characters and their motivations.
That's a really good point. Her background could definitely add a unique depth to the psychological aspects of the story. Maybe we'll see those nuances in how she portrays the characters' thoughts, their actions, and ultimately their secrets.
Speaking of nuances, one reviewer mentioned the book structure, specifically the then and now format. So it seems like we're getting multiple perspectives, which always keeps things interesting.
Oh, absolutely. That back and forth style is such a clever way to reveal information bit by bit. You know, building suspense and keeping the reader guessing we might get Millie's version of events and then see those same events from another character's point of view, potentially changing how we understand everything. Talk about unreliable narrators.
It really makes you wonder just how many secrets are swirling around in this story and who else might be caught up in this web of deception.
Right, and the big question is how far are they willing to go to keep those secrets hidden? And you know, the question is who else might be tangled up in all of this?
Right, and how far are they willing to go to protect those secrets?
Exactly.
So we've got a mysterious wife, a potentially shady husband, a nosy housemaid, and a hunky lawyer who's probably too good to be true. What else can you tell us about this crazy story?
Well, we know it all takes place in New York City in this luxurious penthouse on the Upper West Side. It's not just a backdrop, though. It really plays into the story, highlighting the contrast between Millie's more humble life and the Garrick's extravagant world.
Yeah, one reviewer mentioned that the book kind of goes overboard with the poor struggling maid thing, almost like it's a cliche.
That's a fair point. It's a tough balance for authors to create characters we can relate to without falling into stereotypes, but maybe McFadden is using those details to show the power dynamics at play. Millie's financial struggles could make her more vulnerable, adding another layer of tension.
And several reviewers talked about the ending. Apparently it's packed with twists, and some were even a bit too much, even for a Freida McFadden book.
Ah, yes, the twists. That's her signature move, isn't it? She's known for those shocking reveals that leave you speechless. But, a twist is only as good as its execution. If it feels too far-fetched or like it's just throw in there, it can ruin the whole story.
Totally. It's all about finding that sweet spot between surprise and believability.
Yeah.
You want to be shocked, but it has to make sense within the story.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A good twist should feel both unexpected and inevitable at the same time.
Okay, so we've got a complicated plot, morally ambiguous characters, and enough twists to give you whiplash. What's the verdict? Is The Housemaid's Secret worth reading?
Well, based on everything we've seen, it definitely seems like a classic Freida McFadden thriller. It's fast-paced, suspenseful, and full of twists and turns. But it might not be for everyone.
Especially if you're looking for something deep and meaningful with complex characters. This might not be the book for you, but if you just want a fun, entertaining read that keeps you on the edge of your seat, then buckle up.
And remember, reading is subjective. What one person finds predictable, another might find exhilarating.
Exactly. It's all about knowing what you enjoy and approaching the book with the right expectations. Maybe you're in the mood for a light, something you can finish in one go without overthinking it.
Or maybe you're looking for something more thought-provoking, something that will stay with you long after you've finished it. Either way, I think it's important to go into The Housemaid's Secret with an open mind.
Okay, so we've talked about the plot, the characters, the twists, even the author's background. Is there anything else we should keep in mind before diving in?
Well, there's one crucial element we haven't really touched on, the ethical dilemmas that Millie faces throughout the story. She's constantly pushing the boundaries, getting involved in dangerous situations. It raises some interesting questions about, a housemaid's role, the limits of responsibility, how far we should go to help others, even when it puts us at risk.
Ooh, that's deep. So we're not just getting a fun thriller here. We're getting a story that makes us think about our own moral compass.
Exactly. The Housemaid's Secret isn't just entertainment. It's a story that explores the complexities of relationships, the consequences of our choices, and those gray areas of morality.
Now, if you remember from the source material, it seems like Millie has a bit of a past. She spent some time in prison, but we don't know why. That definitely adds another layer to her character.
Absolutely. That backstory suggests a lot more depth than we've seen so far. What happened in Millie's past that might be affecting her now? Is she trying to make amends for something, or is she falling back into old habits that could lead to trouble? It's intriguing.
This is what I love about psychological thrillers. It's not just about the plot twists. It's about getting inside the characters' heads, figuring out what makes them tick and how their past shapes their present. And with someone like Millie, who's already impulsive and a bit reckless, I think her past is going to be a major factor.
For sure, the past is never truly behind us, especially in a genre that's all about secrets and hidden truths.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? Is The Housemaid's Secret the kind of thriller you devour in one sitting? Should it be next on your reading list? Well, from the reviews and descriptions we've gone through, it seems like it checks a lot of the boxes for a gripping read.
It sounds like it has that perfect mix of suspense twists and morally ambiguous characters that keep you guessing until the very end.
But like with any thriller, there are a few things to keep in mind. Some people found the plot a bit predictable, relying on those familiar tropes that you often see in this genre.
Yeah, it's kind of like ordering your favorite comfort food, what to expect, even if it's not the most groundbreaking culinary experience. Sometimes you just want something familiar.
Exactly. So if you're looking for something totally unique and unpredictable, this might not be the book for you.
But if you're just in the mood for a fun, twisty read with plenty of suspense and you don't mind a few familiar elements, then The Housemaid's Secret could be a great choice.
Especially if you like those morally gray characters who keep you guessing.
And speaking of characters, Millie's proactive nature really stood out to me. She's not your typical passive housemaid.
Oh, for sure. She's always poking around, crossing boundaries, and getting herself into increasingly sticky situations.
Yeah.
That's what drives the plot forward. but it also makes you wonder about her motivations.
And then there's her mysterious past. She was in prison, but we don't know why. It adds a whole other layer of intrigue. What happened back then, and how is it affecting her now? These are the questions.
That's what makes psychological thrillers so captivating. It's not just about the plot twists. It's about delving into the characters' minds, understanding what makes them tick, and how their past shapes their present.
And the ethical dilemmas that Millie faces are really interesting too. She's always making choices that blur the lines between right and wrong. She wants to help Wendy, but at what cost? Is she putting herself in danger? Is she crossing ethical lines to get to the truth?
These are the questions that make The Housemaid's Secret more than just a fun thriller. It makes you think about relationships, the consequences of your actions, and the gray areas of morality.
So it's up to you. Do you want to dive into this world of wealth secrets and moral dilemmas? Are you ready for a roller coaster of twists and turns, even if some of them might feel familiar?
We've shared our thoughts based on the info you gave us. Now it's your turn to decide if The Housemaid's Secret is the right thriller for you.
Happy reading.
And something else I noticed in the reviews, a lot of people said reading The Housemaid's Secret was like solving a puzzle.
Yeah.
Each twist reveals another layer, another piece of the bigger picture.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
McFadden seems to be great at creating these intricate stories where everything matters. Every little detail, every conversation could be a clue.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like you have to pay close attention and try to figure things out, along with Millie as she uncovers the truth.
And even though some people thought the twists were predictable, everyone agreed that McFadden's writing is really captivating. It's that fast-paced, addictive style that keeps you reading all night.
It's like she knows exactly how to hook you. You always want to read just one more chapter, even when you should be sleeping.
Exactly. It shows how talented she is as a writer, even if you can guess some of the twists. The journey is so enjoyable that it doesn't really matter. It's all about the thrill, the suspense that keeps you on the edge of your seat.
So if you're looking for a book that will mess with your head, keep you guessing, and just be a lot of fun, The Housemaid's Secret might be the one for you.
But in the end, it's your call. We've gone over the plot, the characters, the twists, the author's background. We even talked about those ethical dilemmas that make you think.
We've given you all the pieces of the puzzle. Now it's up to you to decide if you want to put it all together.
Happy reading.
And that wraps up our deep dive into The Housemaid's Secret. If you enjoyed this discussion, be sure to check out our other episodes where we break down all sorts of books and explore the world of literature. So, until next time, happy reading, everyone.